Hello, I'm Kayleigh, I'm a social worker in the UK. In this video I'm going to be talking about some tips to engage really well with people that we're involved with supporting. So I got the idea for this video off one of my top subscribers who asked for this, so shout out to them. And I'd just like to start really by thinking about the models of assessment. So a couple of them are the exchange model and the questioning model. So firstly, with the exchange model, it's about taking a conversational approach, being led by the person really and how they want to sort of define their situation or their life, and it's about sort of thinking about the biography of the person, what makes them who they are, and taking a narrative approach. So that's all about conversation and learning from people in that way. And I think that this form of assessment can be really helpful if someone's willing to engage with you and share this information. It can really affirm their existence and also sort of make people feel heard and giving people really the respect that they deserve. And I think that can be a good way of opening up the conversation and finding things that you may have in common. So maybe noticing sort of that someone has a nice photograph of their family, and then you sort of ask about that, can really break the ice at the beginning, and then you can ask more awkward to ask questions later on in the discussion. And this is some advice that I got from a manager when I was doing one of my observations as a student, that it's a really good way of starting the assessment. And then the other model of assessment is the questioning model. So that's where you may have a set amount of questions that you want to ask someone, and that really takes more of a planned approach. And you can actually mix these two as you're engaging with people. And I find that this is something that I do, especially thinking about preparing some bullet points of information that I need to get from the outcome of the assessment or the visit. And I think that that's really important, because sometimes you can find yourself leaving somewhere without having all the information that you needed, and which can cause problems if you need to then go back and write an assessment, or there's something that you need to achieve. So I find that also gives me more scope for those conversations which may drift, because then you're really listening to what they're saying rather than worrying about information which may be in your head, which you're trying to remember, and you feel that you need to ask everything all at once in case you forget everything that you were going to say. Another reason the questioning model can be really good is when you're thinking about exactly the words that you're going to use in order to engage with someone, because sometimes I plan it to that extent. So especially with people maybe who have dementia or have had a stroke, it's so important that you use simple language and that you give people space to actually answer. I think another thing that we often come across is that people may be coming to us at a point where they actually don't want to open up to us at all. That may be for loads of reasons, but maybe they're just going through a really tough time, and you can get people where they may be very challenging on the phone, and I think that can be heightened when people are really struggling with services to get through on the phones. Maybe they've gone to switchboard and it's taken ages, and then you're speaking to them and it's becoming increasingly sort of the person's agitated. And I think mostly if you listen and you show respect, that situation can de-escalate, but sometimes it doesn't. And I think that clear boundaries can be really important in giving people warnings around if you're going to have to terminate the call or maybe end a home visit, and just say that you don't feel like you're getting anywhere with it at the moment, and that you're going to have to revisit the discussion and give a clear explanation as to why, if you can. And I think that sometimes being honest in that way can help. And then if you don't make it about yourself and find yourself getting sort of saying something back, or getting heightened in emotion yourself, and you just try to keep really calm while you're engaging with that person, you may find that you come back the next day and they actually say, oh, this is why I responded that way, but I am sorry, or like, I'm willing to work through it. Or maybe sometimes people don't even realise, and you may feel that it's not the way you would communicate with someone, but that may be normal to that person. And I'm not saying that it's acceptable to experience abuse as anyone, as a professional even. It's just that the way that we all communicate is different, and I think it's just about just thinking about how you're going to deal with that situation. So there are a few tips that I have for engaging with people, and if that's been helpful to you, give me a comment and let me know anything else that you'd find interesting to hear about. Like and subscribe, that really helps the channel.